Hi, this is Steve with PixelBump. Welcome to the AE Bootcamp tutorial on color matching and color correction. The first thing we want to do is learn how to color match two different pieces of footage. Now here we have Amy and we have Lyra, and they've both been shot on a green screen, but you can see they were shot in very different color spaces. So how do we get these two things to match? First we pick the one that we want to match to. In this case, I want to match Lyra to Amy. So I'm going to click on Lyra's layer, and I'm going to add a curves adjustment to it. Now, I'm going to come down here, and in the channels, I'm just going to look at the red right now. And while looking at the red, I can see that we want to bring this up, make it a little lighter, kind of give it a little more definition. And what we're trying to do is match the gray levels to each other. So Lyra's gray levels need to match Amy's. Let's bring that down a little more. That's starting to look pretty good. So let's move over to the green channel. And we just want to go channel by channel and match these two. Again, we're going to want to probably just come in, bring this down a little bit more, maybe a little brighter. That's starting to look pretty good. Then we'll go over to the blue, repeat this again. And the blue looks like it needs to be a lot darker. So let's really crank that guy down. All right, now let's go back to our RGB, and we're pretty close. Now we're starting to see a lot of the same color tone there. But we want to come in and add a little bit of hue saturation to this, just to cool it off a little bit. It's a little too bright. And you're going to see there's a huge difference now in between what our before was and our after. Of course, you can keep tuning this to get them closer, but in just a matter of seconds, we've gone from something that doesn't match at all to something in the same ballpark. Next, let's talk about creative color correction. There's a lot of different tools that After Effects gives you to be able to do color correction. It's so long that I can't even see them all at once in my effects and presets window here. And each one of them has its strength or weakness, and it's really going to be up to you to decide which ones you feel are best to do the job that you want to do. I'm going to show you as many of them as I can to create a couple different looks. In this case, let's try to create something that looks a little bit like the movie The Matrix. Now, The Matrix had kind of a desaturated, green tinted world. So the first thing we'll want to do is duplicate our footage. And here, let's go ahead and use one of my favorite color adjusters, the Colorama effect. Colorama effect is insanely powerful. It has a lot of really great presets, but you can also go in and create your own by just clicking in and adding different colors. Say okay, come in here. Add a little bit of a brighter, maybe less saturated. All right, so we've got a nice green overlay on this guy. And let's go ahead and screen that on top of our footage. And we're already kind of getting there. We're a little more, we have less saturation. We have a green tint to everything, but it's a bit bright right now. So what we're gonna wanna do is take an exposure control, drop it on the original Amy footage, and just bring that exposure down quite a bit. Just kind of bring that down. And now let's take an adjustment layer, and let's call this the saturation layer. And we'll pull in the hue saturation. Drop that guy on and bring our saturation down a bit. All right, we're getting there. That back up, a little more there, and let's bring a little bit of that saturation back. And now we're starting to get, again, a very different look from where we started, which was a nice saturated, colorful look into this pale green look. Maybe the last thing I want to do is add a curves on top here. Again, just go with a nice S curve, crunch it down, the blacks a little more. And we've got a really interesting color correction happening. Now, like I said, you can do that with a combination of different effects. Go ahead and experiment. There's no wrong way to color correct. Next, let's come in and grab that Amy footage and let's do a shift tilt look. And the shift tilt look is a lot of fun to do, and it's really easy. First, we're going to need an adjustment layer for the blur. So we're going to come in and we're going to add a fast blur to this guy. So we don't have time for slow blurs. Then we're going to come in and we're just going to create a mask down the center here. Let's feather that off. And then let's subtract that area. There we go. Now let's bring it up. Let's make our focus plane something more in here. And maybe let's turn this whole guy a little bit. And very quickly we've added the impression of a shift tilt lens. We can of course come back in, bring in a little bit of curves, maybe brighten it up a touch, keep those blacks lower. Let's pull a little bit of that red out, add a little more blue, and let's just bring that blur down just a little bit. And there you go. Now you have another very interesting look done very quickly, and it's a remarkable difference from the first one we created. And it took just, again, matter of seconds. Last thing I'm going to do is show you what I call the Miami look, or the CSI look. And the way you want to achieve something like that is to bring in another adjustment layer. We're going to name it the gradient. And let's come in and grab our gradient. And let's grab our gradient ramp, drop it on, and instead of black to white, let's go from a nice orange down to a nice blue. And we're going to overlay that. Let's tone it down a little bit. It's a little too intense right now. Let's try a soft light. There we go. And you instantly have the look of CSI Miami. Don't be afraid to use other overlaying layers on top of your color correction. You can also come in, add yourself a nice blur again. Bring it up. Get that. Drop in ellipse. Use a subtractive mode. Feather it out. Now we have a nice, beautiful, blurry vignette. Maybe we also want to add a black vignette to it. And this is all just easy, fast ways to do something expressive and fun to really give your projects a unique look. So there you go. Really fast, 3 completely different color correction looks and color matching. I hope you learned something, and I hope you'll join us in the final video on expressions and scripting. Thank you so much. Go and create.